Hello everyone, I'm Bec. Our focus for today is to start to understand your zone of genius, because knowing this is the first crucial step to building a profitable, sustainable business and creating a powerful brand. And if you don't do this groundwork, then building that profitable, sustainable business that we all dream of becomes a real struggle.
So between Rebecca and I, we've got 40 years experience in marketing, branding and communications. I started in marketing before AI, before social media, and even before digital marketing was a thing. I know I don't look old enough, but it's true.
That Botox, Lyndsey, is going well.
Need a little bit. I think I need to top up.
And I've been using the power of words throughout my 20-year career as a journalist and copywriter, which is also since before the dawn of social media. But our point here is that while the platforms may have changed and evolved, the core principles of marketing have stood the test of time.
That's absolutely right. And those core principles of marketing are here on the screen. They are product, price, promotion, people, process, physical evidence, and place. And they are the 7 critical P's of marketing and the full service marketing mix. And it really is vital that you're touching on all of these if you want to grow a service-based business.
And in Powerhouse Positioning Authority Accelerator, our Done With You program, which is part group, part one-on-one mentoring, part live experience, we dive deep into the strategies and systems that are vital today, yet are still based on this marketing mix to help you build the foundations of your solid, rock solid business.
And for that rock solid business to happen, you really need to have a brand that commands attention and builds authority. And the very first step towards doing that is exactly what we're going to be covering today, which is, of course, owning your zone, understanding your zone of genius. And that's what we're going to do in this workshop.
Saying that, there is a lot more ground to cover beyond your zone of genius if you want to build a brand that gives you the confidence to show up every day, take your seat at the expert table, and increase your prices so that you can charge your worth for the epic transformations that you deliver.
So let's dive in. The first P in marketing is product, yeah? And in your business, you are the product. The power of you is everything, yeah? So let's get you into your zone of genius. Let's go.
And there are very few things that are unique in the world. And it might sound like a cliche, but it's true. There's only one of you in the world, and your zone of genius sits at the heart of you. So when you know what it is and can operate from it, everything shifts in your business.
Absolutely. And I am really seriously passionate about getting as many businesses as possible into their zone and to dial into it and to really intentionally operate from it because of how it's impacted me and my career over the last 25 years. Even though I've been in marketing for 25 years, I've won awards, I've been in the press, but I don't think I can say I've ever really been operating from my zone of genius until Bec and I started Nourish Communications, which was 18 months ago. And now I can look back, and if you see this video here, and I know exactly when I was in my zone of genius, and right back, going all the way back to childhood. I know now, I didn't at the time, but now I understand what it is. Now I can look back and think, actually, those are the key points when I was in it. And what this video is trying to demonstrate here is that my brilliance is seeing what other people can't, basically. So taking an Amazon cardboard box and not having any instructions and creating some crazy bloody Addams Family house castle, or getting a tea towel and making my son a great costume for school. That is the root of part of my zone of genius, part of my natural born talents, and that is how I work with our clients. That's what I do. I can look above and I can see something very normal, such as a box, or just somebody's very mediocre brand, and I can quickly visualize and turn it into something exceptional.
Why do we love the zone of genius so much? Well, as you probably have gathered from Lyndsey, it gives you next level confidence and clarity. There's no more second guessing yourself, no more imposter syndrome, and no more comparing yourself to others, comparisonitis.
Yeah, owning your zone of genius gives you a really rock solid belief in what you're brilliant at, and most importantly, the transformation that you can deliver. And this is going to attract more clients, and ultimately it's going to make you more money, and we all want more money, don't we?
Yep, not afraid to say it. So what is your zone of genius? Well, as you can see on the screen, it's it's the sweet spot where your natural born talents, your learned skills, your qualifications and your experience and your passions, where all those things that make up you, it's where they collide. And that
And
in the
when
center is your zone of genius. Sorry, Lyndsey, carry on.
no, not at all. And when you can articulate your sweet spot and show how it brings value to others, it really becomes a really intrinsic part of your personal brand, and it's what you become known for. Yeah. And that makes you instantly more attractive to your dream clients. And it really gets them asking, okay, how can we work, or how can I work with you as the expert?
Completely. What I really like about it as well, though, are the internal benefits, like personal benefits as well, because when you work from your zone of genius, your business just becomes easier, it becomes effortless, you're in flow, you have fun, you can feel it's more fulfilling. And when you're having fun, you do tend to make more money.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And when you're more productive, yeah, and you want to show up daily, and you can show up with more confidence because you actually know deep down where you're operating from. Your energy really is so much more magnetic, and you know exactly where your expertise lies, and it's something that nobody can take away from you.
Yeah, and there's no more beating yourself up about the stuff that doesn't come naturally. No more pesky hours spent down a rabbit hole. When you know your strengths, you can focus your energy there and outsource the stuff that doesn't come naturally, because you'll be making enough money to actually pay for a VA to do that stuff. And it means that you can just focus on owning your zone.
But anyway, before we go any further, you might be thinking, who the hell are we to be telling you this?
Exactly. We are the co-founders of Nourish Communications, and we have helped dozens of coaches, of consultants and service providers build powerful, profitable brands that are rooted in credibility.
And we do this using our powerhouse positioning system. And this is a system that has 3 core components to it.
Number 1 is your powerhouse profile. That is all about getting really crystal clear on your messaging and your unique positioning.
And then we've got number 2, the second part of the system, which is powerhouse portfolio. And that's really creating, or if you already have an existing brand or branding, upgrading your brand's visual identity and the assets.
And then the final part of the puzzle is the powerhouse productivity, which is all about, once you've got those 2 things in place, automating and scaling your business. And when we work with anyone, whether it's in our Authority Accelerated group program or one-to-one, the very first step is always to nail your zone of genius, which is why we're sharing this with you today.
Part of what we do is to lay the foundations of a powerful brand that commands attention, attracts premium clients, and lets you confidently charge more. And when you can do this, when you can nail that zone of genius of yours, and when you feel really confident about your brand, that's when you can really step into the value that you offer.
You stop being the best kept secret because you're no longer hiding behind your procrastination or those tasks that drain you. And instead, you're building a brand that commands attention, feels authentically good. It just lights your soul on fire, and you want to shout about what you're doing from the rooftops.
So we're going to show you a couple of examples of powerhouse positioning in action. So our client Manzi, she came to us with really very underwhelming brand positioning and pretty crappy messaging, really. And when we worked with her on these critical foundations of her brand, there was a big shift for her with a messaging, but also with a mindset and her confidence as well. And whilst we're not mindset coaches, there's definitely that critical mindset shift when we go through that process. And she was able to create a high ticket program as part of her brand positioning, which now pretty much sells itself. And then she can outsource, or she started outsourcing all the stuff that she hates doing to her VA. And she called me a few months back, and she was so excited that she managed to get this VA in and was able to really focus on, you know, what she loves doing and what brings her joy. Next is another client of ours, and her name is Sanai. And Sanai, well, she came to us, and in her very own words, she said, look, my branding is embarrassing. Yeah, my website is embarrassing. I've been coaching for 10 years and I don't even want to share it with people. But after she'd worked with us on a brand positioning, and linking her offers intrinsically to her brand, she was able to increase her prices. And now she's got this gorgeous website and all this beautiful messaging, and this high converting messaging as well. And a website that is underpinned by very strong SEO, all done by us. And now she's able to shout from the rooftops just as she wanted to. When we work with our clients, also a lot of the time they tend to come to us and there's sort of like a few nerves around like boldly claiming their niche. And we often hear a lot of the time from clients, we just want to serve everybody. We just want to serve everybody. Or the other thing is that imposter syndrome, that pesky chimp, is sort of springs up because they're really a little bit nervous actually about stepping into that credibility and claiming to be the expert. And that's what we want to eradicate, don't we, Bec?
Definitely, because we know, we've been there. It's really tempting to be the generalist, but and try to appeal to everyone. But that can really backfire because people want to pay for a specialist. They want the person who instinctively gets them and can guide them because they have got the exact credentials that they're looking for. And that's what we're helping you step into today.
Yeah, we always say nobody wants the GP. They want the specialist. You're not going to go to a GP, are you, if you've got a heart condition? You want to go to a heart specialist. So it's so important. Anyway, so it means you've already taken the first steps to positioning yourself as an expert when you manage to nail your zone of genius. So give yourself permission to stop being humble. Stop letting that inner chimp tell you that you're not good enough. Stop playing small. Step into the power of you and own your zone. And that is exactly what we're going to be able to do if you stick with us today.
So we need to dive into exactly what a zone of genius statement is and how it can go from vague to powerful. So here's an example. I'm a creative marketeer with 25 years experience in strategic marketing, and I love designing logos for small businesses. So question for you to put comments in the chat. What do you think of this statement? How does it sound to you? Do be as blunt as you like. You hopefully can tell we are as well. Has anyone got any thoughts on what
boring? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All the bees. Yeah. Oh, another bee. Yeah. Oh, look at these. Snooze. Absolutely. And this could apply to anybody. It's not really encapsulating my zone of genius. Now, here is a powerhouse positioning statement that is rooted in my true zone of genius. So I am a visionary. We know that because I can take a cardboard box and I can create something spectacular from it. And I can see what others can't. And I have the strategic marketing, brand and design skills to turn a business idea into a powerful concept with goal-oriented strategies, beautifully executed. And my passion is I love seeing the transformation that clients go through when they work with me inside and out. So let's break it down. So I am a visionary. That is my natural born talent. All the way back to my childhood. I know now I can pinpoint times at school when I did stuff in art or craft or woodwork that it was always there. I just didn't know it. But I knew when I was doing it, and I look back now, that I had that energy like I have here now talking to you. I'm a strategic marketing and design. So these are my learned skills. I've been to graphic design college. I've got a diploma in marketing. I've got certificates in PR. I've done all I've done what I needed to do to skill up. Fast and high quality, unique delivery. That's another one of my talents really, and skills, I suppose. I can really, quickly work with my clients to get them to their end result, but I am never going to negotiate on quality. So that's the unique delivery. And then serving purpose-led business owners. This is one of my passions, and throughout my entire career, the one thing that I've always done is supported women. I started a group a few years ago before any other female groups were around. I had a community of bloggers across the UK called under the brand Girl About. I have always supported women, and I didn't ever think about it being in my zone of genius, but of course it is, because it brings me joy. And I also get massive amount of joy from seeing the transformation from I've been recently diagnosed with ADHD, and that explains a lot. What I really get and love from working with these clients, these women and men, there is such a quick transformation, and you don't get that in the corporate world. You know, I start with them on something basic, and within 3 months we have got something absolutely stunning and, you know, just beautiful and style and substance. So that is really my zone of genius. These things all sort of, you know, the intersection where all these things collide. And you can see when I'm talking about it, I'm on fire. I'm absolutely on fire. You know, in my previous career in travel, I just wasn't on fire. I love the travel industry, but I wasn't in my zone. I was working for corporate clients, government clients. I wasn't able to get creative. So this is so important.
Completely. And also, not only does Lyndsey's zone of genius, when it's complemented with mine, that's around the sort of nitty-gritty details and the wonder of words, it serves our clients really well. But it also means that we know, as business partners, co-founders, that we can focus our efforts playing to our strengths and make our partnership work really, really well. And I think that's valuable as well.
Together we make a formidable team, don't we? Yeah, my ADHD and Bec's attention to detail are just a match made in heaven.
Okay, so now it's your turn. It's time to get that pen and paper that hopefully you've got to hand. We're gonna so your zone of genius statement, it pulls together your character, your experience, and the energy, and we're going to put that it needs to go first and foremost into something that makes sense for you. Because when you've got total clarity on this, it's not something that you need to shout from the rooftops about, because you can just convey it instinctively within your branding and in your messaging and everything you put out there, because it just becomes easily apparent what your zone of genius is.
So how do we do this? So today we're going to dive into the root of your talent, your experience, and your skills and your passions. And the more specific you can be, the more personal it is. Remember, we don't want to be a generalist. It needs to be powerful. And that power comes from you really tapping into, really getting clear on, you know, the real detail of this.
So first up is talents. We want to brainstorm your natural born talents today. We want you to put pen to paper and think about all those things that just come naturally to you. Think back to your childhood, perhaps your teenage years, throughout your life. What are the things that have just come easily to you?
It might be something that comes so naturally to you that you don't even realize it is a natural born talent, such as me in a cardboard box. What is it that you find easy to do? What are, you know, are you empathetic? Are you creative? Are you detail driven? Are you a big picture thinker? Are you a problem solver? Is it your attention to detail? Grab your pen and paper. Don't overthink this. We're going to scribble down everything that comes to mind in 2 minutes. Think right back to childhood, what you were good at school. If there's any comments that people make about what you excel at.
Right, what we want to do is then we're going to set the timer for another 30 seconds once you've done this, once you've got your brainstormed list. And we want you to go back and give those talents a score from 1 to 10, with 1 being that it's something that you're a little bit talented at, and 10 being something that you're overwhelmingly talented at. Again, don't overthink it, and just 30 seconds to do this now.
And the idea really is at this point is there's not just one thing, but there's multiple things, I suppose, is what we're trying to say. You know, don't just write one thing down. The more you can write down, and we are going to get you to go away and, you know, and continue with this, because it's not something you're going to nail entirely today. But try and get as many talents down as you can. Yeah. And then, as Bec said, choose the one in your mind that is the number one thing that you are really, really, you know, talented at. What were you born with that you just know that whenever you're whenever you're doing that, whenever you're in that zone, you know, there isn't any imposter syndrome, you know, you're just bloody excellent at it. So as we move through this process, we need to look at how that connects into the other parts of your zone of genius.
So part 2 of this is the second piece of the puzzle, and that's your learned skills, so experience and learned skills that you've had, because these give credibility to who you are, and they perhaps have taken years to master, and there's something that you should be really fairly paid for as well. So we want to know now, what are your qualifications?
What are your skills? What courses have you taken? What degree do you have? I don't have a degree. So, if you don't have that, if you don't have a degree or any, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not the expert. What on the job training do you have? How many years of experience have you got doing it? Have you spoken on stage? Have you won an award? Have you been featured in the media? What have you designed? What have you organized? Who have you worked for? Is there somebody that you've worked for that's particularly well known? Go ahead, go on, scribble down your answers to these questions, and you've got another 2 minutes to do that. We were chatting to a client the other day, and she was very adamant that her zone of genius was in a specific field, within a specific industry, and when we started chatting to her about it, it became clear that it was only because she felt safe in that industry, and she'd had some bad experiences beyond that industry. So she was just leaning towards, okay, no, I want to put myself in this box. And what at the end of it, what happened was, what she realized was that her true zone she is incredibly detailed, and she's what I would call an entrepreneur. She's somebody that a business owner needs in the background because she is so detailed oriented. And when we explained that to her and said, look, you can do this in any industry. You just got to decide who you want to work with. Who would you get the most joy out of working with? It's just because you've had a bad experience with somebody in a different industry doesn't mean that you can't step outside of an industry that you're used to. I worked in travel for 20 years. Yeah, I loved the industry, but I didn't necessarily love what I was doing. So again, don't box yourself in too much either. The whole objective here is finding the strength within so that you can go and select your clients, whoever they are.
Again, we're going to set the timer again for another 30 seconds. And this time we want you to score your brain dump again from 1 to 10, with 1 being something that you've got a little bit of experience about or a little skilled in, and 10 being something that you're highly skilled in. So again, on your list, scribble down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is that's most relevant. And again, as we're saying, don't overthink these things.
You can be really proud of your accomplishments. You should be really proud. And when you can own them, it really shows up in your confidence and the clarity when you're speaking to people. But equally, again, thing here is you don't need to list every single qualification and every skill, in your zone of genius statement. You need to think about the relevance and importance to your clients. I mean, we have women that come to us that have been coaching and in consultancy roles for years, and they have got every certificate under the sun, but that's not what this is necessarily about. This is about the combination of things that's going to basically create your zone of genius.
So the last piece of the puzzle is the passions. It's about what lights up your soul, what sets you on fire, what brings a smile to your face on even like the greyest of days. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a huge thing or a tiny thing. In fact, sometimes the tiny things are the things in the details that can be really insightful.
It's really about, what sets your heart on fire, what brings you absolute joy. And that often closely connects to your core values as well. So one way to think about this is if somebody asked you out of the blue to present for 5 minutes, what could you talk about without any preparation based entirely on one of your passions or your number one passion?
I mean, that could be something that brings you huge satisfaction, either personally or professionally, or it might be something that you feel really strongly about, perhaps protecting the environment, for example. So in the back of your mind, also think about how that can relate to your ideal client. So I'm going to set the timer again for 2 minutes, and we want you to brainstorm again, scribble down as much as you can.
We are keeping it simple in this workshop. We can't, it's not something that we can just do in 10 minutes, we want you to go away and spend longer really getting it right. And we're going to provide you with a worksheet. And that will be in a follow-up email after this workshop. So make sure you check your junk as well, because I know that the junk can be, the end of these things. So check your junk, and there's a really clear worksheet that we want you to work through.
Thing is with these as well, your zone of genius, it's not set in stone, is it? It kind of like evolves as you evolve, as you discover more about yourself. So while this is a great snapshot to begin with, yeah, the worksheet will really help develop it further, and then you never know where it can take you to.
And we're gonna get you to send them to us anyway, because we're gonna put our special magic on them as well. We will look at them if you send them to us. So, and you know, the trick to nailing your zone of genius is just to drill right down to the very root of your talents, skills, and passions, so that you can connect with your ideal client on the most authentic level. Because when you are authentic, there's massive power in that as well.
Hell yes. Okay, so this is where it all then comes together into that statement. So we'd like you to start by filling in the passion blank. That sounds a bit funny. With the passion that leaps out at you the most. So looking at your list, what's the one that actually, yeah, that's what I need. Once you've got that in there, then you're going to put your highest ranked outcomes from the first two GC lists into your statement in this simple format. I love to, passion. I can, natural born talent. And I have, learned skills, experience. 2, the outcome, what it is that brings you joy. So again, grab your pens.
This is your first attempt. Yeah, remember, it's exactly that. You're going to have to sit on it. You're going to have to let it marinate, and then come back to it again in a few days. And also critically, you know, it's a really, you need to ask your friends and family and your loved ones, what are their thoughts? What do they think about what, you know, their ideas are around your passions and talents and skills, and see if there's any patterns. You know, if they might point something out that you've not identified, or you know, you just do naturally without really being aware. And that is when we're really getting to the heart of who you are, when you can intentionally tune into that. So it is going to evolve, and that is totally okay. Add your personality to it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because when we're in Authority Accelerator, once we've worked on your zone of genius, we then deep dive into your core values, your brand DNA, and your ideal client avatar. And these often bring up thoughts that you might not have tuned into today, but that can really impact your zone of genius and help it evolve into something more even stronger.
And I promise you, there will be a massive aha moment when you nailed it. So when I nailed mine, and it wasn't that long ago, really. It was probably 12 months ago, maybe. It just, you know, you know, and it's not always about writing it and using it in its entirety. It just might be that I'm having a conversation with somebody, and I know I can reel off certain parts of it that make me sound really like the expert that you know, that I am. So, you know, there's going to be, again, you know, again, you know, keep saying this, you're going to be able to pinpoint so many times throughout your life and your career when you have been operating in that zone, in the zone of genius.
Definitely. And just to reiterate as well, it's really important to remember that there's no right or wrong with this, because it's all about getting down to the bones of it for you. Remove the fluff, just really focus on the value that you bring your clients, because it's not, as we've said, it's not something to use necessarily externally. It's about creating a short statement that rings true for you and just easily comes to mind whenever you need it. It's all about giving you the power to own your zone.
You've taken your first steps. Now, don't go anywhere, please. You've taken your first steps to owning your zone, and that is absolutely huge. And don't forget, once you've had a chance to reflect and refine, email it to us, and together with those 3 lists as well, please. And we're going to give you some personal feedback. And so whilst we don't know you, you know, well enough, unfortunately, to really nail it for you, we can give you some, you know, we can add our magic to it, our some of our expertise to it, to help you to think about, okay, well, you know, how it could be made even stronger.
If you've loved this workshop and you're feeling all fired up, then we'd like to talk to you about what it looks like to work with us to build the critical foundations of your powerful, profitable brand and turn that into a sustainable business.
So what we've covered today is really about getting you confident in your zone of genius. And, you know, that's just one of the first things that you really need to do to get your brand on point. And when your brand is on point, you'll have more impact, more confidence, and of course, more revenue.
And that's where our Authority Accelerator program, Done With You, comes in.
So we'd love for you to join our small group community and program. In there, you're going to get our hands-on support to help you create a brand that stands the test of time and gets people raising their hands to work with you.
Yeah, and it's going to give you the confidence you need to show up boldly and powerfully, both online and offline. We're talking real world as well as digital world.
And during these 8 modules, we're going to work really close with you to build your brand's foundation. So we're going to start by nailing that zone of genius, then developing your powerhouse promise, which is like an elevator pitch, but on speed.
We get crystal clear on your values, your tone of voice, and your brand personality, and how that feeds into everything.
We're going to develop that all-important critical key messaging and those look at me content pillars.
We're going to help develop a content plan that speaks directly to your ideal clients.
You're only as good as your offer as well, and we're going to create a signature system and a signature offer that's going to allow you again to really stand out. And what this does is it gives some sustainability in your business. What I find, or what we find all the time with business owners, is this sort of pop-up culture where they have an idea at 3 a.m. and then they're building a workshop or a course around it with no real foundational work done first. So it doesn't, there's no longevity, there's no sustainability with it.
No, the system is so important. It gives such clarity, doesn't it? Definitely. In the program as well, we'll also help with writing high converting copy for your website that's got SEO in mind as well.
Absolutely, because what's a website without SEO? It's just all fur coat and no knickers, isn't it, really? There's no point having one if nobody can find you. And we're also going to look at your brand's visual identity, aka your branding. We're going to look at ways we're going to build, to give it a glow up if needed as well, because it's likely when you go through this process, there's going to be a big shift there as well. We're going to look at the psychology of colors and fonts. We're going to look at, what really makes a really strong, aesthetically beautiful, premium brand identity. And then together, we're going to distill everything. This is the magic, into your very own bespoke powerhouse positioning blueprint document. And we're going to show you, and it's like 14 pages of gold all about you. And we're going to show you how to use it to create your own AI co-pilot. So we're basically going to show you how to plug it into ChatGPT or whatever AI you want to use, so that you can let AI work in your business while you work on it. And this is gold. AI was a swear word for us up until recently. Bec as a journalist, total swear word. But we have since realized that what we can do is we can reverse engineer it with the stuff that we've been working on with our clients for so long. And these blueprint documents that's got all this stuff that we've been working on are absolutely gold. They really are. You can do a week's worth of social media posts based on all of this, with your offer in there, with your tone of voice, with everything in there in seconds. It's absolutely game changing.
Definitely. And I really have changed my mind on that, because it just allows you to do the stuff that becomes repetitive, doesn't it? And you need to do the foundations first, which is what this does for you. Because with all these positioning foundations in place, you'll be able to confidently talk about what you do, and you'll no longer be second guessing your messaging or your purpose or your social media content. And as we've covered, it's just going to give you those prompts to write whatever it is that you need to do quickly.
And during our time together, we're going to have weekly lives like this. There's nothing better than having our eyes on your brand as you start to develop it further. And so there's going to be some amazing people, amazing feedback, and amazing support. And, it's not a one size fits all. This is as bespoke as a program can get. It really is.
Definitely. And over the course of the time, we really get to know you more and know more about your business. And we can then share the strategies, secrets, and systems so that you can step into your authority in just 8 modules and stop being your industry's best kept secret.
It's so worth making the investment in your business up front. Get it right the first time, and they will not disappoint you. So thank you so much, Lyndsey and Rebecca.
Once the exchange of money had happened, there was still that same energy, and even more so, that we were going to get this right.
I can honestly say it will be the best thing you can do for your business. It's really helped me knuckle down on my branding, my voice, my brand messaging, and how I show up.
how you speak about yourself and your offers, how your systems impact your positioning, and how to tie together your words and your visuals to accurately represent your powerhouse brand. You will love working with Lyndsey and Rebecca. So dive in now.
I'm so grateful for the support and the help they've given throughout the programme. It is literally one of the best things I've done in a long, long time.
When you jump all into the Authority Accelerator with the wonderful Lyndsey and Bec, you can come away with a brand identity to feel proud of and step into, with a system at the heart of your messaging and offers, which gives direction and confidence on your journey to grow.
Also seen the quality of their branding as well. It's incredible.
You invest in the Authority Accelerator and work with Lyndsey and Bec, you will be very lucky, first of all, but you'll walk away at the end of it with this amazing brand Bible that is all about the core foundations of your business, which is so crucial and critical for you to have, or for anyone to have for their business. Not only is it help you get clarity on what those things are in your own head and mind, but it also means now that you can share those things very easily with a contractor, an employee, a photographer you want to work with, anyone that needs to know about your business, what you stand for, and help you decide who you're going to work with. You have the foundations right there to help you with that. And hopefully you'll never forget who you are, what your business stands for. And if you do, you can always look back at the work that Lyndsey and Bec helped you with.
I would highly recommend both Lyndsey and Rebecca.